The Cossacks are hardened warriors, brutally efficient on the battlefield, yet famous also for their joyous celebrations of victory and exuberant adoration of God. The forces of New Antioch know that to camp with a unit of Cossacks means that you will never be bored, as they will commonly compete with anyone willing to put their pride on the line in wrestling, acts of marksmanship, horse riding, fencing, drinking, and even dancing. Born of the steppes, it is said among the faithful nations that the Cossacks are watched over by the Blessed Virgin Mary, and that when the day comes for the second war in heaven, the Cossacks shall be called by her to defend the very realm of God itself. The sutnik is the hard spine of every Cossack company, a commander whose authority is forged in mud, fire, and the brutal rhythm of trench warfare. His bulava is more than a relic of the old steppe. It is a mark of resolve, a reminder that discipline must hold when the lines waver. Armed with revolver, rifle, or whatever relics the campaign offers, he leads from the front, never demanding of his warriors anything he would not face himself. When darkness presses close and the fields burn with unholy light, it is the sutnik who steadies the line. His commands are brief, his faith quiet but firm, his presence enough to turn fear into discipline. To his enemies, he is the figure that refuses to break. To his own, he is the point around which hope gathers. The Sisters of Mercy walk the trenches where most fear to tread, moving through smoke and shrapnel with the calm certainty of those who believe their lives are no longer their own. Clad in black and white monastic robes and a gas mask that hides every trace of humanity, she carries a censer filled with sanctified incense, its glow cutting through the haze like a guiding flame. In her other hand rests a holy surgeon's knife, a tool meant for healing, but often forced into grim necessity. Upon her shoulder hangs a matanka bound in chains, a solemn relic or perhaps something more. Some soldiers swear they have seen the doll stir, pointing silently towards wounded men lost in the mud. Others claim a faint halo shimmered above the sister's hood as she worked. Most dismiss such tales as battlefield fever, yet none dare question her presence when death draws near. The trench chaplain walks the front lines with a battered icon shield torn from a ruined church, carrying it not as an ornament, but as defiance. With a shotgun or heavy revolver, he delivers comfort to the wounded and final rites to the fallen in the same steady breath. The cracked icon he carries reminds soldiers of shrines lost to shellfire, giving them something to hold onto when the line buckles. He does not hide behind faith. He pushes forward with it, his voice cutting through chaos, his presence turning fear into discipline. The sniper nun moves across the battlefield guided not by sight, but by prayer. Her eyes remain veiled, blind to the world yet open to something deeper, each shot preceded by a quiet murmur of devotion. She carries a scripture-engraved rifle, its barrel darkened by constant use. Soldiers swear she strikes targets no mortal eye could even find. Shapes in fog, whispers in the dark, moving with a calm that feels almost sacred. In the trenches, they say the Lord guides her aim. She only prays, breathes, and fires, and somewhere a sinner falls. Combat cherkas, the trench engineers of the Cossack army, walk the front like living anvils. Clad in half-plate, a heavy steel gorget and a reinforced backpack, they carry a plated shield on the left arm and overlapping scale on the right. Few in number, their silhouette is as unmistakable as a drawn blade, slow, deliberate, and utterly unafraid. They are craftsmen of ruin and repair alike, expert at blowing bunkers, clearing minefields, and shaping the battlefield. A single cherka can turn a stalled assault into a breakthrough or undo an enemy advance with one well-placed charge. When necessity demands, they close to brutal hand-to-hand work, engineers who become fighters without hesitation. The line Cossacks are the backbone of every trench company, soldiers hardened by mud, frost, and the long silence between bombardments. With rifles scarred by old campaigns and gear patched countless times, they advance with the quiet certainty of men defending their own land. Their strength is discipline and unity. One order from the sutnik can turn them from a still-firing line into a driving wave. When the smoke clears, it is the line Cossacks who remain, tired and scarred, but unbroken. The Serdyuks are heavy-hitting shock troops of the Cossack lines, broader, stronger infantrymen who earn their glory in the crush of close combat. They wear no cumbersome armour, trading protection for speed so they can reach the enemy trenches before the foe recovers from the barrage. Their weapons are built for devastation, two-handed sabres that carve through helmets and bone, or massive warhammers that smash dugouts and men alike. When the Serdyuks charge, it is with a roar that drowns even the guns, a storm of steel meant to break the enemy line by sheer unstoppable force. Serdyuks rarely fight in long engagements. They strike, overwhelm, and move on, leaving shattered wood, shattered steel, and shattered morale behind them. To fight beside them is to witness fury given purpose. The Panzer Cossacks are giants among warriors, clad in slabs of heavy plate that turn them into moving fortresses. Only the largest and strongest are chosen, men whose steps make the trenches tremble. Yet strength alone is not enough. Each must undergo rites of the Molfars and cherkas, rituals that stand between blessing and ordeal. These rites reshape body and spirit. What rises from the smoke and ruins is no longer an ordinary man, but something denser and harder, tempered like steel in winter waters. Their minds grow cold and focused, their resolves narrowed to a single purpose: advance, endure, and break through. On the battlefield, a Panzer Cossack is an approaching disaster. Bullets flatten on their armour, trenches buckle beneath their charge, and enemy lines collapse before their unstoppable momentum. They do not hold ground. They crush what stands before them. The witchkeeper is a wanderer from the far west, a mercenary whose path crosses the front lines without warning or explanation. No one knows his true purpose, yet his presence commands both fear and reverence. His bone mask, a fanged skull, and the many skulls strapped to his knees, back, and staff leave no doubt about who he is and what fate awaits those he hunts. On the battlefield, the witchkeeper seeks out witches wherever they hide. No witch-tainted soul escapes his judgment. All will burn on the pyre. Behind him drifts the scent of scorched flesh and church incense, carried by a faint sound that follows him always: a whisper, a chime, or perhaps a song no one truly hears. The Mamluk steppe sentinels wander far from their lost homelands, riding into the wide frontiers where the trench Cossacks hold the line. Once guardians of sacred oases, they now travel the steppe as roaming knights, carrying relic armour and reforged weapons suited for mud, frost, and endless skirmishes. Though not Cossacks, they share the same silent discipline. They read the wind like scripture, track foes by dust and shadow, and strike with sudden, precise ambushes. While Cossacks defend the trenches, the sentinels watch the wild approaches no fortification can reach. They do not fight for coin or fame, but to keep ancient sanctuaries untouched, and because the Cossacks respect their oath. When the sentinels ride beneath the open sky, even the damned grow cautious. They say the supply nuns are women who once carried a child and lost it to war, hunger, or the merciless hand of fate. Only God and the sacred cartridges can soothe their pain now. They look upon crates of ammunition as if holding a newborn they must surrender, not to earth, but to heaven's will. Some carry Matanka dolls strapped to their gear. In the doll's woven hands, one can sometimes glimpse a single cartridge. Many dismiss it as superstition, yet stories linger. When despair swallowed whole battalions, when no rounds remained and hope had died, a small matanka would appear from nowhere and offer one last bullet. The Cossack resonant arrives wherever he is commanded, not by coin or contract, but by the voice he alone can hear. A whisper that cuts through gunfire, smoke, and doubt. He follows no banner, swears no oath to any sutnik, and serves no mortal lord. His payment is simple and terrible, the death of sinners. His weapon is said to be the spear of Longinus itself, reforged in the fires of modern war, yet still carrying the weight of the wound that changed history. In his hands, it strikes with unnatural certainty, as if guided by something beyond mortal sight. When the resonant speaks, the trenches fall silent. His voice is not loud, but every word lands like a verdict written before time began. Some say it is the voice of God, others the echo of a doomed prophet. The resonant offers no explanation. He appears, judges, and moves on. The communicator is unnaturally tall and skeletal, wrapped in layered vestments that hang like heavy veils from a body far too motionless to be human. Those who stand beside him in the line whisper that he is not a man at all, but something reshaped by providence. His bones give a faint, ringing tremor when he moves, as if hollowed for a purpose no earthly surgeon could explain. His face is hidden beneath a crude half-mask of dark steel, from under which spill long, uneven mustaches and a row of crooked yellowed teeth. The mask hides most of his expression, yet somehow makes him even more unsettling, as if it conceals not features, but the absence of them. Soldiers avoid his gaze instinctively, never certain whether anything living looks out from behind that metal plate. On the battlefield, he towers above the ranks, holding his rifle as though it were not a weapon, but an extension of his own bones. It moves with him, perfectly aligned, as if grafted to his frame. His belt is heavy with dozens of small icons, chipped, soot-darkened, and mismatched, each swaying like a mute prayer as he walks. The Molfar biochemist enters the battlefield wrapped in a bulky orange protective suit, his wide glass visor reflecting fire, smoke, and the silhouettes of the damned. The outfit looks clumsy and ill-suited for combat, yet appearances mislead. Within that armoured shell stands a master of alchemical warfare, trained in secrets preserved by Carpathian healers and forbidden monastic archives. He wields a polearm halberd fitted with chemical reservoirs, glass vials, and tarnished metal, allowing him to slice, pierce, or dose an enemy in a single motion. Creatures that would send ordinary soldiers fleeing instead push him into a controlled trance, honed through years of dissecting horrors and studying the corruption that twists their flesh. Across the chaos of the trenches, he moves with eerie precision, harvesting samples, marking mutations, and striking with almost ritual intent. His purpose is simple and terrible: to learn how to unmake the horrors of hell by first understanding them. The Lisovyi didukh does not walk so much as drift, its many arms pulling it forward across the earth with a sound like dry branches scraping stone. Where a human head should be, it bears the skull of a great stag, crowned with a golden mask whose hollow eyes never blink. Ancient scrolls trail behind it in long, tangled ribbons, some pagan, others older than any scripture humanity has ever claimed as its own. By lantern light and candle flame it mutters in a dozen voices, as if each scroll it carries speaks through it. These are not prayers, but echoes of something primordial, fragments of knowledge once meant for gods rather than mortals. Wherever it passes, the air grows still, as though the world itself pauses to listen. The didukh does not obey commands like a soldier or servant. It follows only the pull of the text placed into its grasp. Whoever dares entrusted with a sacred scroll becomes, for a time, its guide. In battle, it focuses that impossible knowledge upon a chosen target, unraveling flesh, will, or stone with growing intensity the longer its attention lingers. Alright folks, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today's video. It was about the Trench Cossacks from Wargames Crew, a trench compatible frontier that you can back right now on My Mini Factory. It's open for late pledges for about 2 weeks. Please go and back this one. These folks from Wargames Crew are over in Ukraine. It is beyond me how people can be creative and do this kind of thing in the circumstances that folks unfortunately have to deal with in that country right now. So if you can support this one, please do. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching and all the best.